Alright guys, so today what I'm going to show you guys is just really how to replace an LG compressor. So right now we're working on taking out the old one and we're going to put in the new one. So right there I'm just taking out the overload and relay. You don't have to rush or anything. The purposes of these videos are just to show you how to install these appliance parts, just if you don't want to actually pay the price to have somebody come out and do it for you. So these are just really to help out. So right now I believe I'm about to take out some of the lines that are connected to the compressor itself, the condenser and the one right on top of the condenser. The condenser is that shiny silver one, and then the copper one that's right on top of it. So what you really want to do is just kind of heat up the lines, but heat them up more towards the compressor than the actual line itself, because you don't want to actually make a hole in them, especially the condenser, because they're mostly made of aluminum. So just be careful. And if you don't have any sort of flame retardant rags or anything, just get like a few napkins and wet them really well, and you know, just use that to cool down any of the things that you are putting your flame on. So right there, I removed the dryer, and the same thing with the dryer. Just be very careful, because the dryer is made out of copper, but it's very thin. So just kind of go back and forth on both ends, and once you feel that sort of pull where you're able to actually be able to pull it out smoothly, go ahead. And right there, what I did was bend those lines upwards. Basically, when I take them out, the compressor still has oil in them, and I don't really like getting messy like that, especially in people's homes. So what I do, I just end up bending them and then just taking the compressor out. So right now I should be pulling out the new one and just prepping it to basically install it. So just bear with me as I prepare. So that's the new compressor. Just prepping everything, like I said. Right there, that little spike that I use is just to open up the tubing. So when you connect them, it's just a little bit of a better fit. So do go ahead and buy that. So once I place the compressor on there, go ahead and put the clips just to secure it, because when you do push it back, sometimes if it's not secured, it'll start wobbling all over the place and you might damage it. So we don't want that. Also right there, I'm using sandpaper where I'm going to solder aluminum to copper. It's best to do that because you want to get rid of any of the impurities. And by impurities, I mean just get rid of any of the dirt that might be on there that might get in the way of you actually being able to fuse these two different metals. So usually it's one side for the dryer, and then for the condenser. And those are really the ones that you should be cleaning, because you're gonna have to put flux on top of those lines when you start soldering, so they can stick together. Flux, you'll see right now in a little bit, is just a little bit of a white substance that helps them fuse together. Also right there, what I'm showing you is the access valve that I'm going to install on the low side, which is the left side of the compressor. You always want to take off the valve that's actually inside the access valve itself, because if you don't, what's going to happen is that when you're soldering, you're going to end up melting that, and by the time you want it to get charged, it's going to leak. So right there, you can see I have the flux with me. I do need to buy some more, but I still have some. So just put enough where it's kind of recurring on both sides, and it's all really about flame control, guys. Nothing else. Just all about flame control. Don't go too crazy, but just don't be so scared about it either. So like I said, the same thing as I took them off. Just start heating up both sides, and once you start seeing those lines kind of start change color, just start sticking in your solder stick and you'll see it melt real easy. And like I said, it's just flame control. And then just be sure you get top and bottom, be sure everything's secured, and you should be up and going. So when you're doing the condenser as well, like I said, try to just put the flame mostly on the compressor side, not so much on the condenser. Obviously, yes, put some on the condenser, but mostly more on the compressor, because like I said, you don't want to blow a hole in it, and that's not something that you want to end up fixing, because that's just going to prolong the whole process. So right there, I'm just hitting the access valve. Guys, also, as long as you seal everything the way that you should, it doesn't matter how any of the joints look like, if they have big balls dripping from them or they look super pretty. The whole point is just to get them sealed and make sure nothing leaks. So right there again, you see that I'm sanding down the aluminum line that's gonna go into the filter dryer, which is copper. So right now I'm just getting it ready. So same thing, take out the valve on the filter dryer, because you don't want to end up burning that, because that will cause a leak. And the more you can prep anything just to get things right, honestly, the better. That way, you don't have to keep repeating steps over and over. But if this is your first time, just take your time. There's no rush. Just go about it your own way. Don't make so many mistakes if you don't have to. These sort of compressor jobs, I usually take maybe like 35 minutes or so. But at the very beginning, I did take a while, maybe almost an hour, just to complete it, because I was taking my time. But after doing this for so long, you kind of just get better at it. So right there, you see that I'm applying the flux just on one side. And like I said, I do need to buy a new one, because I'm almost to the very bottom of that little bottle. So, but yeah, as long as you get them well, lubricated on both sides, you should be up and at them. So right now I'm just gonna go ahead and hit it and start soldering that whole filter dryer. And like I said, the copper itself is very thin, and the aluminum will burn very quickly. So just kind of go back and forth, just a small flame, back and forth. As soon as you start putting a bit of solder on top of that joint, just push it with your flame and it'll go all the way around. Same thing for the other side. It's a very, very thin line, so just be careful. All right, so we're done with that. And usually, I kind of run the rag on all the joints that I solder, because sometimes when you're just moving, you might end up touching it, and then you cause some sort of burn on yourself. And trust me, those are really annoying, and they catch you off guard, because you kind of just want to get to the next step. But just always take your time and just play it safe. So right there, I'm putting back the valve on the access valve itself. Here goes the overload and relay. Also, guys, the overload and relay is always supposed to have a cover. Just always put the cover on it. Usually when it's the first time you change out an original compressor, they'll send you like this black cover. Use that one. Try not to use the original one they have, because sometimes they don't fit. And also it's good because on most appliances, you have little roaches and little bugs that like to get into warm spaces, and that kind of keeps them away. But just kind of put all the parts that they do send you if you can. It'll be best. So right there, you can see that I am putting back the valve on the dryer itself, the filter dryer. Now, if I'm not mistaken, I should be about ready to vacuum the system out. Yeah, because I'm picking up all my tools and putting them to the side. So when you vacuum a system, guys, it's very, very, very simple. So you got your little vacuum right there. What you're gonna do is basically get your gauges, connect one of your gauges to the low side. It says them on your gauges as well, or they're 9 times out of 10 they're color coded. So put your blue one on the low side, which is all the way to the left, and then put your high side, which is the red one, on your filter dryer. And then the one in the middle, put it on top of that access point right there on top of your vacuum. So what you want to do is connect all those, plug the refrigerator back in, let the compressor start running. First, you'll see that condenser fan kick on, and then that compressor will kick on right after. Be very careful. Just go ahead and hear it. And if you don't hear it, just kind of stick your hand on top of the compressor and you'll feel that light vibration. You know, that basically indicates that it's on. So right now, I'm checking that it's on. It is. I went ahead and turned on my vacuum, and I opened both my gauges for the low side and the high side. And the point is, you just want to get those gauges all the way to 0 or past 0, which is in the negatives. The reason for that is because you want to suction out everything that's inside those lines, because when it comes time to actually charging the system, you don't want to overshoot it. So if you do overshoot it, then more than likely some of your lines are going to start getting frozen, because you know that Freon can't flow properly the way that it should, because it's just overloaded with so much. So the vacuum process really only takes maybe not even 5 minutes, a little bit less, because this is a very, very small refrigerator system. So, you know, it's not going to take a very long time. So right now I have my scale right there next to me. I'm going to connect it to the Freon tank, and basically just look for the amount of ounces that it has on the inside of the tag. It'll say how many ounces it has. And it's just basically about doing math. And right there, what I'm doing is opening up one of the lines that's connected to the Freon tank, because sometimes there's a little bit of air bubbles and I don't want to be off on any of the measurements that I'm taking. So it's just really about doing simple math. So you open up your low side to be able to charge it just a little bit, close it to be able to gauge how much has gone in, and it's just back and forth until you get to that number that you basically need it to get at after you did your subtraction or whatever math you just did. So right there, we're just basically done, and now it's basically just time to clean up, man. So there's not really much to these things. It's more about taking your time, understanding what you're doing, just the basics. But like I said in the beginning, this is just to help you guys, just in case you ever want to do this yourself. Maybe save you a quick buck, and you know, you might learn something new. But until next time, guys, I'll go ahead and edit out the other new video. So y'all have a good one. Peace.